Okay, is Dragon Quest VII really only going to cut out the fluff, the mundane, and only keep the meat of the game since the game is so quote unquote bloated? Well, that remains to be seen. Let's talk about it. So, unless you've been living under a rock for the past couple of weeks, you would know that Dragon Quest VII is coming out with a remake. Oh, wait a minute, it's not a remake, it's a reimagining. Now, this game is going to be a remake of Dragon Quest VII essentially, but they've dubbed it under reimagining. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I wasn't expecting this. I was very surprised that this announcement was made. The only real questions I have is where is Dragon Quest 12 that was announced like 3-4 years ago along with Dragon Quest 3 2D HD remake? We haven't even seen anything on Dragon Quest 12, not a concept art, not a character design, nothing. Now it could be several factors going into that. Maybe you have some residual, I guess you could say the T-Virus was around at the time. You had the passing of the late great Akira Toriyama. So maybe that kind of interfered with some things, but it's kind of weird how you have ready a full force remake reimagining, but you don't have anything for Dragon Quest 12. I'm worried about that game's development. I don't even know if it is currently, it's in development, but it could be different teams, but I digress. I would like to see Dragon Quest 12. Anyway, we got this reimagining. So I have my own reservations about this reimagining. The first thing, as soon as this was announced, I said, why are you calling it a reimagining or reimagine? And one of the first thoughts that popped into my head was, well, they don't want to call this a remake because it's not exactly going to be a one-for-one. And what happens is when you don't have a remake be one-for-one, you're going to have people saying that, hey, this didn't happen in the original. Why are you doing this? And I have my own thoughts about how remakes should be done, what remakes are good, what remakes are bad, what makes a remake, what constitutes a remake. But yeah, that's the first thing that popped into my head was that, okay, they're going to change some things. And it's really scary what a reimagined game can do to an older game that was held deep and close to players that played the original game. It's my opinion, when you're remaking a game, you're remaking it because it was a good game. You're remaking it because there are story points, characters, and things that make the game great. Of course, the graphics might be dated, but there's a reason everybody holds that game, whatever game it might be, in high regard. If you remake a game and you cut out the things that made the original great, like cutting out a clock tower, for instance, like cutting out how a certain enemy might stalk you throughout the city, cutting out a route system that the story changes depending on what route you should choose. Goddamn Resident Evil 3, I hate that remake so badly. If you didn't play the original Resident Evil 3, go play. Okay, you know what? We're talking about Dragon Quest. Let me dial it back. Anyway, once you start to cut that stuff out, you kind of lose focus on what made the original so special. But now, since we have this reimagined tagline, it gives these companies, as of right now, just Square Enix, to go back to their old library and just do whatever the fuck they want with games. Because let's face it, if you're gonna remake something, it's a pretty big tackling and you gotta make sure it sells well. And one of the things that's really bad is when you show off your game that's a remake and it doesn't look quite the same. Of course, it's not gonna look quite the same, the graphics are gonna be different, but if some things are missing or some things are changed, you're gonna have the internet people, the X people, Twitter people, TikTok people saying that, okay, they cut this, they cut that, this is not the original, this is not that great. And it's going to impact some sales. But now we might get the excuse that, hey, it can't cut stuff if it's a reimagining. So now it's been put out to the world what exactly Dragon Quest VII is going to cut, or things that it's going to add. Things that it's going to add is a new scenario and an arena. You know, an arena probably capture monsters and use them in the arena or fight in the arena, whatever have you. That's a basic feature in some RPGs. Now we have cut content. Now, I am actually glad that, they're coming clean about this stuff. It's a reimagining. We're going to cut some content, and what they are going to cut are things that the game have, like scenarios. They're going to cut the casino. They're going to cut the immigrant town. They're going to cut monster meldews. They're going to cut excellence grading organization. And again, it's kind of like, okay, you're cutting all this stuff off and you're calling it a reimagining, and then people will argue on the internet, well, this is not cut content, it's just a reimagining, so this is how it's going to be. When you have the original for Dragon Quest VII, and then you also have the 3DS version of Dragon Quest VII, which to my understanding did not cut anything all that much, it kind of becomes hard to say that this reimagining is going to be the definitive way to play Dragon Quest VII. So I just worry, guys. I'm just worried. And there's a tweet I made, and I'm going to pull it up on screen right now for you guys to see, and I'm going to read it back to you guys. And the tweet goes like this. This is exactly what I feared with the reimagined part. It's going to be the excuse to cut out, remove, change, or even worse, censor anything the original did and pretty much guise it under the excuse of it's a reimagine. It's not a remake. And guys, if this is successful, if Square Enix in Dragon Quest VII, and this is Dragon Quest, this is a mainline Dragon Quest title, so it's more than likely going to do real good in Japan. It might do good in the States. Who knows, but the chance of it doing good is pretty high. This might open the floodgates for other games, especially under Square Enix's umbrella, for them to bring back other games and make them reimagined games instead of remakes. Instead of taking what made the originals good and just bringing it to modern day standards, you're just going to reimagine it and just put whatever the hell you want in it, cut whatever the hell you want, and make it as maybe as a budget friendly as you want, because remakes are a big project for, these companies. So if they can take a game that was 60 hours, 70 hours main story and condense it down to 25, 30, 35 hours, they might just do that. And they will probably get the same sales they would get if they did a full-blown remake from the ground up, capturing everything about the original. So this might give room for Xenogears reimagined. This might give room for Parasite Eve reimagined if Dragon Quest VII reimagined is successful. And I swear, I do not want Parasite Eve to be remade or reimagined right now. I love that game. It is amongst my top games of all time. I love Parasite Eve, but if you can't do it right, if you have to do some inclusion in Parasite Eve and maybe change up Aya's character, I don't want it right now. Please, let's get past this certain era of society and hope that maybe further down the line that a Parasite Eve remake, full force remake that is faithful to the original can come out. But I don't want a Parasite Eve remake right now, and I'm thinking about making a video just dedicated to that. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, this could be me being all doom and gloom and me being a negative person and, just being a pessimist, and maybe this Dragon Quest VII remake, or reimagine rather, can come out and it's actually pretty good. It cut out the content that wasn't needed. It cut out the fat and it condensed it to a more leaner game, and it still captures the magic of the original Dragon Quest VII. That's what I'm hoping for, but I'm a little bit worried that if we give companies an inch, they're going to take a mile. They're going to keep wondering and exploring, experimenting with, okay, we have the original that was beloved by everyone. We want to bring it to modern times now, but we don't have the budget to really do that kind of scope. So what can we condense and cut out to make it so that we get the same money as a full force remake, but not have to spend as much to make it? I'm just worried about that. I'm praying that I am dead wrong. Maybe you guys in the comments can tell me that, hey, Shadow, you don't have to worry about this stuff. It's going to be good. Don't worry about it. And I just don't know, man. When it comes to gaming, I'm just seeing that major companies, especially Square Enix, if they have an opportunity to rob us blind or hell intentionally, they're gonna do it, and people are gonna buy. And I don't want this to be what the route that Dragon Quest VIII takes when it comes to its remake or reimagined or whatever it's gonna happen. And if they remake Dragon Quest VIII, Jessica is gonna be completely changed. Her outfit's going to be changed completely, or she's just not going to have as big of assets, if you will, as she did in the original. Man, I really want to play Dragon Quest 8 again. That's my favorite Dragon Quest. No, wait, Dragon Quest 11 might be. I don't know. I'm just worried about this Dragon Quest 7 reimagined. Let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you later. Peace.